much, everybody. Good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, February 21st. We have our regularly scheduled work session. The time is 6:02 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. As usual, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, given that this is a work session, we do not have public comment this evening. We have one board presentation this evening. That is Archive Social, and that is presented by Daniel Whitaker. And I will turn that over to you, Sage.
Hey, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. My name is Daniel Whitaker with Archive Social. Hopefully everyone's night is going well so far. And what I'm going to do is share my screen in just a quick second. And so it should look pretty similar to what Kathy has already presented to everyone, but let me know when you're able to view that. It should say protecting your agency with social media archiving.
Yes.
Awesome. So before I got started, a little bit of background on who we are at Archive Social, really why we exist as a company. Some of this is going to be pretty familiar to everyone. I think Kathy's done a really good job of bringing this up previously. We at Archive Social archive social media. And the reason why is because in every state, New York included, social media content like Facebook, like Twitter, like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok is considered part of that public record. And as we'll cover, the networks themselves have no records management capabilities. And so a number of agencies across the state and across the country have made the determination that, hey, we need to be archiving our social media if we are to comply with the different records laws in our states. So there are a couple different main reasons why agencies archive, compliance being the biggest among them. If you were to go to every one of our customers across the state and across the country and ask them, why did you purchase Archive Social? Compliance is probably going to be what you hear most of the time. There are other reasons why, though, agencies archive. The idea of records requests for social media content being a big one. The idea of legal e-discovery, internal requests for best practices. I've worked here a little over 5.5 years now, and I've seen pretty much every different scenario come up where an agency has had to turn over social media records. There is, though, again, the main reason why agencies have prioritized archiving is the guidance from the state as well as the state archives. So in New York, of course, you have FOIL, and that's very similar to most states' records laws. They all tend to be pretty similar across the board. They usually have that phrase, any physical form, regardless of physical form or characteristics. That being said, every state also has additional bodies, additional guidance that comes out that does pertain directly to social media. And in New York, that's going to be through the state archives. They've done a really good job of detailing, one, how social media meets the criteria of being a public record, discuss the idea of retention of those records, and also provided advice on how agencies should retain that information. One of the things that they do is actually cite Archive Social as that cloud-based social media archiving solution for agencies to ensure that they're protecting their social media records. There are some pretty common misconceptions that a lot of people may have regarding social media. Probably the biggest is, aren't these networks doing this for us? I remember being told when I was younger, hey, don't post something to Facebook that you'll regret because it's going to be there forever. And in some instances that's going to be true, but I think when we're talking compliance, records retention, production of records, there are going to be some pretty significant gaps to that. One is that these networks are not built for records retention. They are, at the end of the day, private tech companies and have no records retention obligations for public agencies. And one of the challenges associated with that is that content is not always guaranteed to be there, whether it's something that's edited, hidden, or deleted from social media platforms. Another common question is, can we, as an agency, can we do this on our own? Can we retain these records manually? And there are certainly some methods to do that, most notably screenshotting of the records. And what that is truly just a picture of what the record looks like at that moment in time. So what that won't include is content that's been edited, deleted, hidden previously. Screenshots are also, at the end of the day, just pictures of what the records look like and don't have any authentic metadata behind them to authenticate those records if need be. With social media, there's also no way to make it truly one way. There are ways to limit the engagement that you receive over your social media, but with regards to Facebook, there's no switch that an agency can flip to essentially shut off the public's ability to engage with you over that platform. That's most notably going to be through comments on posts, but it's also private messages, reviews, tweets over Twitter, replies to those tweets. All of that content is information, communication from the public that agencies feel that they need to retain as well. There are also significant questions about, hey, we as an agency would like to archive our social media. What does this require from us? Most agencies are pretty pleasantly surprised with the cost structure. What we do is we base it around how active an agency's social media presence is. The vast majority of our customers typically fall a little under $7,500 a year, although for the Village, based on what I've talked to Kathy about, I feel that it would fall under our economy plan, which falls a little under $4,200 a year. Most of our customers, when they do get Archive Social in place, are up and archiving in less than 20 minutes. In fact, I think that's being pretty generous. Usually it's about 5 to 10 minutes, because all that's required is for the agency in question or the administrator on those accounts to essentially log into the archive log into the social network via Archive Social. Once that's done, we'll be able to retroactively capture that social media content, but of course capture that content over those platforms moving forward. We are also a read-only solution, so we won't have access to post or to edit your social media accounts for you. We'll just be capturing what's happening on the back end. A big question that a lot of agencies ask is, hey, why is this something, not necessarily that we need to do, why should we pursue this now? And the biggest challenge, I think, with the platforms is that records are, as we speak, being lost. There's always a risk that people will say things, will edit them, will hide them. And what a lot of agencies have found is that if they wait until that situation occurs, whether it's that records request, whether that's that lawsuit, that investigation to archive, a lot of times it is too late for agencies. A case in which it wasn't was actually later on, after restoring access to their social media, was that they wanted to have those records restored to their actual account. When they reached out to Facebook, or I guess Meta in this instance now, they were sent these different articles that they were told once something is removed from that account, from that platform, it's gone. So even though this agency in question didn't do anything wrong themselves, had they not been archiving, they would have not had the records that they needed to be retained. Another commonly asked question is, hey, the idea of social media archiving is great. Why these guys? Why Archive Social? And I think it's really predominantly due to our focus as a company. Archive Social, we are specifically focused on one, social media record retention, and two, the public sector. And the reason why I think that's important is because these platforms themselves, these social networks, are almost like living, breathing creatures in how often they change, how often they keep up, or how often they update themselves. And we knew that if we were to effectively capture that social media content, we too needed to be focused on those networks so that we could, one, anticipate, but also overcome those changes that these networks come out with. I think that's really why we're trusted by so many agencies, not just in New York, but across the country. What I have done is, though, list a couple different agencies around the Village, most notably your school districts, but then some other villages that we're working with around you. And then if we're talking in New York, I always like to reference the fact that New York City, as well as the Attorney General's office, has also made the determination to archive their social media with Archive Social. And that's really all I had to present to everyone. I did, of course, want to give some time for any additional questions, if anyone had any, based on what I covered or based on your previous conversations with Kathy.
So Kathy would be the administrator?
Most likely, yes. She would, as the village clerk, be the one to have primary access to the archive, but what she would be able to do is add the different administrators on social media to the archive as account owners,
So when she needs to
meaning
find
she won't have
something-
to,
when she needs to find
ask you
something,
for
she
your
logs
login
on
credentials
the-
to those platforms. If you're an administrator on social media for the village, you'd be able to connect those accounts yourself.
Thanks, Dan. So when she needs to find something, she logs on to your cloud-based application, and then she's able to search by date, name, platform, I mean, a wide variety of choices to search for what she's looking for, or how does that work?
Exactly. So one is of course date range. You can customize your own. What you can also do is search by platform. So let's say that Kathy just needs to produce records from, we'll say that the village's Facebook page. She would be able to go in and specify for that exact content. What you can also do is search for records from a particular individual. So let's say, with regards to the village, there's a troll over social media. Someone saying things that are inappropriate, maybe even threatening to the point where it raises the level to criminal behavior. You could search for anything from, we'll say, John Doe. And what we're also doing is automatically tagging certain records, most notably anything that's deleted, edited, or hidden from your social media. Because what we found in our experience is that's typically what people ask for. When they put in those FOIL requests, they're asking for things that they can no longer see over your social media. So in short, you're able to find that needle in a haystack over your social media records.
What social media does the village use right now?
I think from my conversations with Kathy, forgive me, I'm just pulling up my notes here. I think there's a police department Facebook page.
And Instagram.
Sorry, my computer's a little slow right now. Yes, the police department has Facebook. The tourism has a Facebook page as well. And then Mayor Warren, I think you also utilize Instagram and Facebook. I'm sure there are others, but those are the ones that I've got documented.
Oh, okay, thank you for that. We don't have, I do not believe the village has a Instagram or Facebook as a village. It's something we've considered.
Yeah.
But we do have an app called C-Click-Fix that probably would be considered social media. And that probably should be archived. I don't know if you can hook up with that, but C-Click-Fix would likely fit the definition of social media. So that would be something that could be considered here.
And I'm pretty familiar with that. We wouldn't capture that mainly because that isn't like a platform itself, but my guess is since they are a paid service, they're already taking backups of that content.
That makes sense. We probably should have a LinkedIn, but that's a separate conversation. But thank you very much for the presentation. I don't know if there's any other comments or questions from the board.
Not for me.
And I should clarify as well, C-Click-Fix is actually a part of Civic Plus, which Archive Social is also a part of. So we're all essentially a part of the same company, ultimately Civic Plus.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Well, if there are no other questions, I will hop off. But thank you for letting me speak. Been great talking to everyone, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try to stop
Okay.
sharing.
So we can continue on with our meeting. There are no communications to the board or no discussion items. So I'll turn this over to Charlene for the suggested resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Is my microphone working? We are, at the request of the village clerk, we're gonna change,
I don't think
it's not working? I'm on? Okay. Okay, the village clerk has been having some issues in deciphering some of the minutes, so she has asked that we go to a polling for the resolution so she can properly count and record the vote. So there'll be a different format tonight. I'm going to ask for a motion in a second, and then I will call each trustee's name, and you will respond with your yay or nay. Or if you're abstaining, announce if you're abstaining. So resolution number 1, resolve that the claims for the warrant dated February 21st, 2023, totaling $233,883.56, warrant A21, general fund, and $248,291, warrant H11, capital fund, are hereby audited and approved. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, on the vote, Mayor Warren?
You know what, Charlene, we can do this, it might be a bit time consuming. Maybe we'll run this format through the meeting tonight, but in the future, we should discuss this format. But I think maybe it might just make sense to say all in favor, all opposed, any abstain, and this way everyone would have an opportunity to do that. So I think that's the way we should run this.
I would suggest that if the clerk and the administrator are going to poll, that you need not poll the mayor on his motion. If it's proposed by mayor and seconded by deputy mayor, that then calling the roll would only be the remaining 3 trustees, and that might make things go a little quicker.
Okay, or we can just say all in favor, but a verbal response would be a good idea at this point?
As long as it's satisfactory to the clerk, it's fine with me.
Actually, I have an interruption on that. If you have a motion and a second, someone can still oppose at the end of it, even though they're motioning in second. That's what happened in 2 of the resolutions at the last meeting, and I had to reach out to the member and ask them for clarification because it was not distinguishable by myself or the village attorney or the administrator. So I'm trying to prevent that. So just because you motion and you second doesn't mean you concur with a unanimous vote. You can still oppose it. You're just motioning and seconding.
Sure.
I agree with Kathy on that. It's a great point. I think that how we can make sure that all answers are done correctly is if the village administrator who's reading the resolutions could say all in favor, and then ask the question, any opposed, and then also ask the question, any abstentions. In the past, when we've gotten into some trouble, is when the one reading the resolution simply says all in favor and does not ask those 2 questions. So my preference is to move forward in that fashion, which I believe would satisfy the requirements and avoid any confusion.
Does the abstention have to be announced before the vote?
Yes?
Yeah, okay. So if anyone were to abstain, they would have to announce that they were abstaining and the reason for the abstention?
A reason's not required.
Okay, so we would ask that if anybody's going to abstain, that they would announce that they were abstaining prior to the vote. All right, so we will continue on in that fashion. So,
Sorry to interrupt, Charlene. The other thing I think will be a best practice is we do get into confusion a lot of times with walk-on resolutions or resolutions that occur after executive session. So for example, if it's not on the agenda and then we go into executive session, we come out at 10:30 at night with resolutions that were not announced to the public. Those are tend to be the ones where there tend to be some confusion on. So if we could avoid those in the future, I don't think there'll be any issues.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that if we somebody announces if they abstain and
ahead of
all in
time.
favor, aye, any nay.
Yes,
and-
I think
Clear and
Robert's rule
consistent.
states that the person who's
Yes.
abstaining must
Must
announce
state.
that they're abstaining. So, so we'll move forward then.
Okay.
Okay, so on resolution number 1, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's unanimous. Resolution number 2, resolve that the reading of the minutes for the public sessions of January 12th and 24th, 2023, and February 9th, 2023 are dispensed. The minutes are accepted as filed by the village clerk, and the actions taken at those meetings are hereby ratified and approved. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion.
Discussion.
I just want to make sure, has everyone read the minutes?
Yep,
Yes.
I read the minutes
Okay,
and
just making sure.
watched some of the meetings.
I didn't have an opportunity, I just received some of the minutes, not all, but one portion of them today, and I just would like to review them. So I'm going to just abstain from this resolution.
I believe they were all sent last week, Mayor. Unless that was something else you got today.
So,
Patty can chime in, but I believe there was one copy of the minutes that I was just sent today.
Would you like to hold this over to the next meeting?
Okay.
We'll hold it over to the next meeting so that everybody can read the minutes by the next meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll
Motion.
make the motion.
Second?
You made it second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
so the resolution's tabled.
Okay.
Resolution number 3, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Thursday, April 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting regarding local law 8/2023, the proposal to amend Chapter 116, zoning, specifically Sections 116-9A, Section 3, 116-9, Section A10A, and Section 116-9-9A 11A. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is unanimous. Resolution number 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Thursday, April 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting regarding local law 9-2023, the proposal to amend Chapter 119-4, expiration of permit, extensions, conformance, and specifications display. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Resolution number 5, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held Thursday, August 13th, 2023 at
It's
6...
April 13th.
I'm sorry, April
That's okay.
13th of 2023
You got the A.
at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting regarding local law number 10-2023, the proposal to amend Section 43 of Chapter 110, Schedule L, stopping, standing, and parking regulations. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 6, resolved that in connection with the contemplated arts and cultural overlay district within the Southampton Village Center along portions of Hill Street, Jobs Lane, Windmill Lane, and Pond Lane, the intention of which is to ensure that the zoning code is supportive of arts and cultural uses, galleries and art stores, community-oriented spaces and offices, and artist studios and residents, council and or the village planner and/or the village planning consultant, BFJ Planning, be directed to refer the matter to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, seek lead agency status, and notify interested agencies of the board's intent to seek lead agency status for the purposes of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Discussion.
Mango.
When do
Trustee
we
Mango.
actually, this is to the village attorney, when do we actually claim lead agency status in this matter?
You have,
By doing this?
correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's unanimous. Resolution number 7, whereas eligible voting residents of the Village of Southampton previously approved a referendum to establish a defined benefit length of service award program, LOSAP, for the active volunteer firefighters of the Southampton Village Fire Department in accordance with Article 11A of New York State General Municipal Law, and whereas the Village of Southampton is the LOSAP sponsor and program administrator, and whereas General Municipal Law Section 216 authorizes the Village of Southampton as LOSAP sponsor to amend LOSAP, and whereas an active volunteer firefighter member currently earns $30 monthly service award benefit for each year of service credit with an entitlement age being 65 years of age, and whereas the Board of Trustees desires to amend the LoSAP to increase the amount of years of service a volunteer firefighter may receive a $30 monthly service award benefit from 30 years of service to 40 years of service. The maximum number of years a volunteer firefighter can receive the service award benefit, and whereas the 2024 estimated cost contribution will be increased from $215,000 to $330,000, and whereas the amendment to this program will not apply to fire service rendered by participant during one or more of the 5 calendar years immediately preceding the effective date of this resolution, and whereas the amendment is consistent with the intent of the LoSAP to recruit, retain, and reward volunteer firefighters, now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Southampton Board of Trustees, as authorized by Article 11A of the General Municipal Law, approves an amendment to the LoSAP to increase the number of years a volunteer firefighter may receive a $30 monthly service award from 30 years of service to 40 years of service, effective January 1st, 2024, and be it further resolved that this resolution is subject to a mandatory referendum of qualified voters of the Village of Southampton, and said referendum will be held on June 16th, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. at the Southampton Cultural Center, 25 Pond Lane, Southampton, New York, and be it further resolved that the proposition placed before the qualified voters will read as follows. Shall the Southampton Village of Southampton increase the defined benefit length of service award program, LoSAP, established for all active volunteer firefighters by increasing the number of years a volunteer firefighter may receive a $30 monthly service award from 30 years of service to 40 years of service, effective January 1st, 2024. And be it further resolved that LoSAP shall continue to be administered by the Village of Southampton, and that all further provisions of LoSAP shall remain the same. Is there a motion?
Motion.
A second?
Second discussion, though. I'm just not clear, the part about the 2024 estimated contribution will be increased from $215,000 to $335,000. Is that the impact of this change? No.
That's the amount the estimated amount of this change. Currently, we have been budgeting between $300,000 and $400,000. And the contribution has been coming in much less than that, right? The current contribution was $215,000, and that is a direct result of our efforts to recruit and retain volunteers. And because of the fact that the retirement incentive, the retirement award for LoSAP maxes out at 30 years, and neighboring departments have already extended to the 40-year benefit, so it increases their benefit to stay as members longer. They're having a hard time to recruit, so we have been budgeting the prior levels, and the annual amount of the contributions come in quite less. So actually, it's only going to be a $10,000 budgetary impact for us, but the contribution on an annual basis will go from $215,000 to $335,000.
And it has to pass the referendum.
Right.
It has to pass it, right.
But
The impact is the difference between the
but there can't be
335.
that many people who have been doing it for 40 years to make a $120,000 annual difference in the amount of funds that are going in.
Well, it's the actuaries that do this.
It's the actual-
So we sent it to them,
So this
and
is
they
what
do
it-
this
This is
calculation.
what it could be, but
This
what
is
you're
the pre-
telling me is in actuality, we don't spend this much.
We have not spent this
Yes.
much, and it's created a surplus in the fire district
Okay.
budget, fire department budget every year.
Thank you.
And if they don't get their points, they're ineligible.
Right.
Yes. So, without any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 8, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the request from Christine Brennan and Brendan Regan to hold its third season of the Village Lifeguard Life-Saving Programs, Southampton Junior Life-Saving Program, and Adult Ocean Safety Course to be held at Cooper's Beach for the 2023 summer season. I believe there was a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Yes.
Motion to table. Who's making the motion?
I'll make that motion.
No.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution is tabled. Resolution number 9, resolved that the Board of Trustees would like to thank Sarah Latham for her years of service as Vice Chairman to the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, serving from October 10th, 2019 to December 12th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion, I would just like to again thank Sarah really for her years of service. Her degree in historic preservation from Columbia University was a great asset to the village and will be missed. Her wise counsel on the board was very helpful in a lot of cases that came before the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, and I just would like to commend her again for her hard work and diligence. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Manger. I agree with the sentiments. Sarah did a great job on the ARB, and we were definitely missing her level of expertise. We always had a great ARB, but she really brought an unparalleled level of expertise, and I was very happy to have the opportunity to appoint her, and I know our board is very happy with her service to the village. And a lot of these jobs, whether it's the ARB, ZBA, Planning Board, are completely thankless jobs, and so on behalf of our entire board, I just want to thank Sarah and members of our land use boards for their consummate work on behalf of the village. And so thank you for those kind words, and thank you, Sarah.
So on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 10, resolved that at the recommendation of the Ambulance Chief Kyle McGinnis, the Board of Trustees approves the increase for the Southampton Village Ambulance part-time EMTs from $27 to $34 per hour, effective February 24th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second. Discussion. Just for the board's understanding, in our meeting with Chief McGinnis, with going over the budget for the current year, he brought up the difficulty the ambulance service is having getting part-time EMTs, given that our pay was $27 in the town and surrounding villages are paying $34. So he requested that we raise our hourly pay in order to help us retain and our current EMTs, rather than have them leave us for the higher paying jobs elsewhere. So it's a big increase. I understand that. We've worked these numbers into the budget for the coming year. And I think it's something we've got to do if we want to keep our ambulance staffed with quality people. So I would recommend approving the resolution.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 11, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves Christopher Brenner as a probationary member of the Southampton Hose Company Number 1, effective February 21st, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 12, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the hiring, upon recommendation of Acting Chief Hertow, of John Sanga as a part-time police officer at $26 per hour, not to exceed 20 hours per week, effective March 9th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. There's a mayoral appointment resolved per Section 107-3 of the Village Code. The mayor appoints Peter Grealish for a 2-year term and John Necknes for a 1-year term to the Village Tree Commission. Motion from the mayor.
Motion.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. That concludes the resolutions and the appointments.
Thank you, Charlene. We'll conclude our very brief, record-brief meeting tonight with comments from board members. So we'll turn this over to Trustee Aresta, Deputy Mayor, and obviously now the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd also like to thank Sarah Latham. She served well at the ARB, and the short time that I've gotten to work with her, I learned a lot. She's so knowledgeable about the history and the architect of the village, and hopefully, well, I look forward to some more conversations with her, but I'd like to thank Sarah for her wonderful service. The budget talks and proceedings. They've been proceeding very, very well, and we been working very diligently with the village administrator, Charlene and Julie, our staff accountant, and they're coming along, so we hope to be able to present that budget shortly. The DPW has been working on various projects and planning for the upcoming season, which is upon us. It's coming up very quickly. And then also there will be a public hearing. A notice for the public hearing will be on March 2nd for the traffic study that we've been talking about since August, and that's going to, the public meeting itself is going to be on March 20th. So that notice will be on the March 2nd meeting, and but that's still a work in progress. We've been working on signage and how to roll out the recommended, the things that were recommended by the traffic study, the no right turns on those certain streets, but right now it's really about the signage and how to inform the public of what's going to, the change in the streets up in the western part of the village. So that's all on my end, and have a pleasant evening, everyone.
Thank you, Trustee Resta. Well said. Trustee Brown.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to take the time to thank Father Patrick from St. John's Episcopal Church for hosting our senior citizen February 14th tea. It was lovely. It was so nice to see everyone out there together. It was a lovely time. We enjoyed the film. And I'd just like to thank everyone, and then a special shout out and thank you to Miss Judy Johnson and the work that she did over the years for the village. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. Trustee Manger.
Yes, again, I heard it was very well attended, and everyone enjoyed seeing Casablanca. I understand that there was some participation from the audience, and had a lot of very good food, so it sounds like it was a great success on Valentine's Day. I also wanted to say that Trustee Resta and I conducted the tax grievance day on behalf of the village today.
Forgot about that.
We had 4 people show up, but again, we diligently worked on that today with Danielle Burns and Bill McCoy here in the village, working on, again, the taxes and the assessments in the village. And again, I just wanted to thank those individuals who came in to talk about the taxes with us. And that's all I have for this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Manger. Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the budget process has been ongoing and hammering out the details of the budget, given the difficult economic times that we're in, with prices of everything going up substantially, has been challenging. I want to thank Ambulance Chief Kyle McGinnis and Manny Escobar from the fire department for the hard work they've done on it. It takes a lot of time putting the numbers together and going through things. Many of the budget items are not controllable. When you get the cost of new fire hose and it's mandated that it must be replaced after a certain number of years, you've got to do it. It's not an option. So there aren't too many discretionary items for the chiefs to cut their budget down, but they've done a very good job working with Charlene and Julie to make those changes. So thanks to them for their hard work, and that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. I will also make this brief, as we will soon to move into executive session. First, I just wanted to mention that we're making great progress on the budget, and wanted to thank first and foremost Charlene, our treasurer, for her help on the budget, as well as Julie, who's done an outstanding job, really stepping up in a big way on this. Also wanted to thank all the trustee liaisons for each respective department, as well as the Budget and Finance Committee, and the Deputy Mayor, who is the liaison to the Budget and Finance Committee. Everyone is working very hard and working collaboratively on this, and we're making good progress. And obviously, we hope to have a good budget presentation in the upcoming month or two. That's number one. Number two, I also just wanted to thank Danielle Burns. There's been a lot of, as we get ready for the budget, There has been some changes in some of the taxable assessed values. So I want to thank her, Bill, Building Department for their work to make sure that the building and construction, the new construction that's taking place is noted in that calculation. So I wanted to also thank them as well. In addition, hopefully we'll have some potential good news. We have been working, and I wanted to thank Patrick on this, on New York Planning Foundation Awards for the master plan. Patrick has been working with BFJ, and the village is applying to receive essentially a competition on master plans. And we did, I think our board did a great job on the master plan, as well as the community who was provided invaluable input. So we'll be applying for recognition with the New York Planning Foundation. We'll see what happens, and that should be very exciting. In addition, also, Trustee Stevenson, thanks for bringing up about the EMTs. We want to make sure that we can pay everyone as good or better than any other municipality. Our EMTs do a phenomenal job, and they deserve every dollar they're making and more. And so we want to make sure that we are taking care and fully compensating all of our EMTs. So that's very exciting as well. And one other good piece of news is that we received notice that Southampton Village has been recognized as a Tree City USA. This is something that this board and the Southampton Planning Commission has been working on for quite some time. I believe Christian Pico has been a big help with that as well. So that's some great news. It's something that we can show the public that we've achieved, and obviously hit those criteria. Also, the deputy mayor, who is the liaison to the Public Works Department, who helped us with our Arbor Day celebration last year, which was also a requirement for the Tree City USA. So Gina, just wanted to thank you on that as well. And with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel, legal, and contractual matters. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Public session? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to public session. The time is 7:22 p.m. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Time, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.